All right, so I'm sure you're ready to get up and running with your new Torque X slingshot. There's a couple of things you've got to do on your own before you start shooting your slingshot and having fun with it. The slingshot comes without the bands installed, like all of our slingshots, because it needs to be tuned specifically for you. So we're not going to go through the details of tuning your bands in detail again. We've got lots and lots of videos for you there, but we are going to show you how to put the bands on this slingshot. We also have lots of videos on how to do that as well, but I'm going to show you how to put the bands on the Torque X slingshot. In your package, you're going to have one slingshot frame with the lanyard attached, 2 sets of bands, and a spool of band tying tape. So that tape is going to be critical in order to install the bands. So you're going to need one band set, and that band needs to be, of course, tuned to your draw length. Now, if you have never shot a slingshot before, this is probably the wrong slingshot for you to start with. So go back and take a look at how to tune your bands. We're going to assume that these bands are tuned. We're going to leave these full length. This is for demonstration purposes only. So again, if you want to understand how to tune your bands, definitely go take a look at those videos at simpleshot.academy. You can also contact us at chat. We have lots and lots of resources on our website. You'll be able to find the information you need on how to tune your bands. So for installing the bands, here we go. So you're going to need some band tape. Now, if this is your first time installing flat bands in the wrap and tuck method, give yourself a little extra. You've got a meter here. What you need maybe 10 to 12 inches or so. That's going to be more than enough to install the bands. So you're going to need 2 pieces in that length. So I'll go ahead and make a few pieces here. Okay, so of course you understand that the Torque X slingshot is an ambidextrous slingshot, but also asymmetrical. It was designed to be held as such if I'm holding it in my right hand, so that the slingshot can be held sideways. However, you may pick it up and intuitively feel that it's more comfortable this way. That's fine, that's okay. But this is not a hammer grip slingshot. What you have to determine once you figure out how you want to grip the slingshot is which side will be the shooter side of the slingshot, which is the side facing you, and which side will be the target side of the slingshot. We're going to install the bands on the target side of the slingshot. So I like to hold the Torque X as it was designed in my right hand. Therefore, the side that says Simple Shot on it will be the target side of the slingshot, and that's the side that I'm going to install my bands on. So I'm going to begin by placing the slingshot in a horizontal position. You can lay it on a table if you like. And in the same way, lay the bands out. And we can see that the pouch here, the ears of the slingshot bands, the little tabs, are going to be pointed down. They're towards the slick side of the pouch. The rough side of the pouch should be facing up. That's going to be the orientation that's going to go onto the slingshot, the first one here. So what we want to do is, I like to use a reference point on the slingshot. You can see the ejector pin marks here on the slingshot are just below the tie-in grooves on the Simple Shot side of the slingshot. You're not going to see that on the Torque X side of the slingshot, but you want to make sure you reference a point on the slingshot so that you're putting the same amount of band on at a time. So I'm going to go ahead and reference this with the band coming to the bottom of that ejector pin mark. That's going to give me about 3/8 of an inch or so, somewhere around 9 to 10 millimeters of band beyond the band groove. Next, you're going to start with your tape. The tape can feel a little bit fiddly at first. This is going to take practice, and you may not get it your first time. Again, this is not necessarily a beginner slingshot. This is definitely a slingshot that you can grow into, but you do need to learn how to tie the band on. So we can see here that I've got the band positioned. I'm just simply pinching it with my thumb. I've got the tape in position over the top of the band groove. I'm going to go ahead and start wrapping. I'm going to make the first wrap. Now here's what's really important. You notice the tape is a bit stretchy. Use that stretch to your advantage. So as I make this first wrap, I'm going to stretch it before I bring it back down into the groove, thereby capturing the tag end that I started with. That's very important. Make sure you capture that. And then make 2 more passes, bringing the bands under tension. At this point, I've got a really secure connection, but it's not complete. So we want to take this tag end of the band that we can see here and fold it over and capture it with a few more wraps. Making sure to stretch the band tying material, the tape here, as you lay the wraps down. And I'm going to give it just a few wraps. I think I've made 3 here now. That's more than sufficient. And you can see here that I've got a lot of tape left over. So once you learn how to tie your own bands on, 1 meter of tape can go quite far, but give yourself plenty of room in the beginning. Longer piece is always going to help because, of course, you watched this to completion before you started. All right, I'm going to show one way to finish this off that you will find to be the quickest as you become proficient, and that's using the thumb. As I tie on the other side, I'm going to show you how to use a tool. But we have it in position now, so I'm simply going to wrap it twice over my thumb, again, stretching as I go. And on the third pass, I'm going to bring it underneath my thumb. Then I'm going to let this roll off the top of my thumb and capture that tag end. Once that tag end is captured, you can cut it off and you've got a nice clean tie-in. Okay, so now it's time to attach the other side. So here is when it was important to have the slingshot line on a flat surface and then lay the band out so that the fuzzy side of the pouch is facing up. It's this orientation here that we want to bring around and attach to the other side. So this is one that's not necessarily critical, but the key with slingshots is consistency, so doing it the same way every time. So we want to make sure that we have it in this orientation here, so when we look down the bands, we see a trough, as though if you were to drop a ball into the pouch, it would roll towards the forks. That's the orientation that we're looking for. All right, so on this next go-around here, I'm going to show you another variation that might help you. That's why it's important to watch these videos all the way through, because we're going to give you little tips in between. So the first time we started, we simply put the band on, then started wrapping the tape. This time we're going to make a couple of wraps of the tape before we install the band. Now what we call this is a foundation wrap. And that simply gives you a way to get the tape started and in place before you put the band on. So just another way to go about it. So again, making sure that you're putting the same amount of band on there. We've got our reference point. And then we're going to install the bands the same way. We're going to make 2 to 3 good wraps, capture the tag end, then make another 2 to 3 good wraps. Always stretching the band, and also trying to get it in a flat position rather than letting it get twisted up. It'll still work if it gets twisted up, it just works a lot better if it's flat. Now last time I showed you how we finished this off by me putting my thumb in there. That may seem a little daunting at first for some folks. So you can also use your lanyard. It's already attached to the slingshot. So what we can do here is bring a loop of the lanyard up and put it across the bands. Then we're going to make our 2 passes like we would have done with the thumb. And we'll feed the tag in through that loop that we've made. We then simply pull the paracord through, and that pulls the tag end under. Then we trim up, and we're good to go. The bands are installed. Now, of course, these bands are going to be installed cut to your draw length for your needs. This was for demonstration purposes only on how to install the bands on the Torque X slingshot. We've got tons of other great videos. If you want to know more about how to do it different ways, check out the internet, but be specific. Check out simpleshot.academy and check out our Facebook group, Everything Slingshots by Simple Shot. Tons of information there from a world of slingshot enthusiasts ready to share with you. Thanks a lot for looking.